So, yes, it is. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Reverend Dr. Ron Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast Sunday morning service. And as we do every week, if there's somebody who's never been to a Center for Spiritual Living before, we believe there's one God, many paths to that God, and we're here to love, honor, and support you, no matter what your divine path is. And the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast is a safe haven for people of all beliefs and lifestyles, whoever you are and wherever you find yourself on your journey of faith, you're welcome here. And we're going to begin this morning with two of our practitioners, Patricia and Edgar Rivera, opening us with a prayer and then with a spiritual reading. So you all are on.
Thank you, Reverend Ron. So if we just sit back, allow our gaze to soften, breathe in love, release and let go of fear. Breathe in joy, release and let go of fear. Breathe in harmony, release and let go of fear. Breathe in oneness, for that is what I know is truly the truth of everything everywhere. I know that that one infinite power which creates the ocean, the butterfly, the iguana, the raccoon, the human, the tree, the flower, the star, every grain of sand. That infinite power is the same power that flows through me, through each and everything, through each and every one of us. There is no place where God is not. That infinite spirit is what we breathe when we breathe in. That infinite spirit is the truth of who we are. And from this place, I absolutely know that this gathering of like-minded souls is such a blessing. It is such a gift. It is a gift to each and every heart that is on this call, but it is a gift to each and every soul, whether they can hear the sound of our voices or not. It is a gift traveling far and wide, and we know not of where it lands. All we know that it is. For there is only one peace, one harmony, one love. And in that place of oneness, I am ever so grateful. I am so grateful for all that is. Whether I like the wrapping paper of it or not, it is all a gift. I am so grateful for each and every heart on this planet. I am so grateful for every blade of grass, for every grain of sand, for every tear cried, for every smile enjoyed. I am so grateful for the words of wisdom that I know Reverend Ron has to impart on us. I am so grateful for Reverend Ron being on this planet. I am so grateful for Becky being at his side and guiding us through. I am so grateful for each and every one of us. I am so grateful for the love that is the divine. And standing in that place of gratitude, I know that all there is for me to do is to let go and let God. And in that wisdom, I know that it is so. And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
My reading today is from the Science of Mind book. Correct practice should know that ultimate right action is now, today. If we say tomorrow is going to be, then according to the very law we are using, we hold the answer in a state of futurity, which can never become present. If a gardener holds a seed in his hand and says, tomorrow I'm going to plant this seed, his garden will never start growing. Therefore, Jesus said, when you pray, believe that you have and you shall receive. He did not say believe and you will immediately have. He said, "You shall receive." He did not deny the natural law of evolution and growth. Nature operates according to a law of logical sequence.
Thank you, guys. So my title this morning is Graduation, an Ending or a Beginning. And you know, June is the month that we usually think of as graduations. And it's very often we think of it. I know when I was in high school, I thought of it as an ending. Now I'm an adult. But really it ends one phase and another begins. Kahlil Gibran put it, and when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. There's always another mountain for us. You know, and whether we graduate from a 4-year course or a 10-week class, it's not, we've taken a big step, and it's not a measure of completion. It's a beginning. In spiritual life, we're always open to learning more and more. Ernest Holmes tells us that there's no barriers to having more and more good, to having a greater good in our life. And as we use the principles of Science of Mind, we can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And in effect, we can be and we can become as great as we allow ourselves to become. You know, Spirit keeps whispering in our ear that there's always more. You know, and I know, you know, when I was preparing this, I thought there have been times in my life when I felt as though I was being moved along in spite of myself. I was digging in. But the truth is, there's always that divine discontent. And I'm going to speak about that a little bit more later. We always have Spirit telling us that the learning never ends, and that there's always more to come. And perhaps the two biggest lessons that we can learn are commitment and trust. Commitment to invest the time, the energy, and the effort that's required to become all that we might be, and trust that whatever life is showing us, just the way that it is and just the way that it isn't, it's perfect. Even though we might not be able to see that perfection in the moment. The writer Jennifer James wrote, "Success is not a destination that you ever reach. Success is the quality of the journey." You know, we make our lives more vibrant by constantly reaching out beyond our comfort zone. And sometimes the reaching out is exhilarating, and sometimes it's terrifying, but it's always rewarding, because in the end, that reaching out is the vehicle that enables us to blossom and to become all that we're meant to be. Within each of us, there's a voice, a force, call it whatever you want to call it, but it pushes us to expand our life more and more. The poet Robert Frost said, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." So let me just give you an example, just for 30 seconds. Just close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that, and think back to a choice you made, any choice. Think back just on a choice you made, and try to recall the feeling. How did it feel to act on that choice? That feeling is the feeling we have when we're aligned with our divine path. The writer Sam Keen put it, in the moment, by the way, you can open your eyes, but Sam Keen put it, in the moment that you become disillusioned with your normal satisfactions and ask yourself, what do I really desire? Your soul, rather than your ego, takes charge of your life. Eckhart Tolle writes about awakened doing, and he defines awakened doing as the alignment of your outer purpose, which is what you do, with your inner purpose, which is awakening and staying awake. And he says, it's not what you do, but how you do what you do that determines if you're fulfilling your destiny. Not what you do, but how you do what you do. And how you do what you do is a matter of consciousness. Joseph Campbell put it a different way. Joseph Campbell said that we're always having experiences that hint at what we desire. And he said we need to learn to listen for them, to recognize them. And he said that the great sacrilege is inadvertence, not being awake and not being alert. And to me, that's what consciousness is. The writer Iris Krasno, in one of her books, she said that when she was raising her children, she used to tell them they can be anything they want to be if they stay focused and they work hard. And she said, when I was growing up, my father used to say all the time, success isn't about luck. Success is about sweat and perseverance, because the harder you work, the luckier you get. And then she made another really interesting point. She said that after 9/11, she noticed that the conversations that people participated in the grocery store that she went to, in the place maybe where she went and got her nails done, and at parties, people discussed different things. They started to talk about, who am I? Is it time to quit my job and start living my dream? What do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I thought, isn't that an interesting question? So I ask it to you. Are you living your dream? Are you living your dream? Don't you think those questions, who am I? Is it time to quit my job and start living my dream? What do I want to do with the rest of my life? Aren't they really good questions to ask right now as we come out of this pandemic and as we start to meet and greet one another and go back to our life? What's the life that we really want to really go back to? And I saw two quotes this week, two really short quotes that brought it home to me. The first one is, how you live your life is your life. How you live your life is your life. And the second one is, the way we spend our days is the way we spend our lives. The way we spend our days is the way we spend our lives. So, when Edgar was doing the reading, he talked about being in the now. And one of the things I've noticed is that lessons tend to repeat themselves until we learn the lesson. And when I was thinking about this week, it brought me back to my undergraduate days at NYU. And I had a professor whose name was Vincent Ailes for a psychology class. And he was making this point to us about lessons being learned. And he said, let me give you an example. He said, that's going on with me. He was counseling a woman who had been married 4 times, and each one obviously didn't work. And so he said to her, where did you meet your husbands? And she said, well, I met the first one at a bar, and I met the second one at a cocktail party, and I met the third guy at a bar, and the fourth guy I met at the company Christmas party. And he said, and she couldn't understand why somehow each of her husbands turned out to be an alcoholic. You know, those of you that have seen the movie Groundhog Day, in the movie, Bill Murray's character keeps living the same day over and over again until he learns the lesson. And to me, part of the lesson is that spirit is very persistent, very persistent. So I want to read to you something that Marianne Williamson wrote. It sometimes gets attributed to somebody else, to Nelson Mandela, but he actually read this in a speech, but Marianne Williamson wrote it. And it goes, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So I want to tell you a story that really hit home for Becky and I this week when we discussed it. So it's a story about a young couple that's visiting Paris, and they have their 28-month-old son. So he's about 2 years old. They have this little boy with them, and they go to eat in a really exclusive restaurant, and they take the little boy, and then they're taking the elevator up to the Eiffel Tower. And there was an elderly woman in the restaurant and also in the elevator, and the woman was frowning. And so the mother, who's holding the little boy, she thought, well, maybe this woman's annoyed, thinks that we shouldn't have taken a little child like this to the restaurant. But then the woman turns to her, and the woman says to her, don't let that little boy forget this day. Don't let that little boy forget it. She says, some of us wait too long. My husband and I always said we would go to Paris, but things got in the way. First, it was the children, then it was business, and now he's gone, and I'm here alone. And it's hard to enjoy such beauty alone. You know, and the message is pretty clear. The message is seize the moment while you still have it, because all too soon it slips through your fingers. And you know, Becky and I spent time talking about that this week, because for years we've talked about going to New York, and things get in the way. It costs too much money, this and that. And after we both read this story, we talked to one another and we said, we really have to recommit, because I grew up in New York, Becky's never been there, because wouldn't it be terrible if one of us died? how empty it would be to take that trip to New York. And it doesn't matter if it's a trip to New York, if it's living a dream, whatever it is, now is the time, now is the moment. You know, the Buddha said that there are only two mistakes that one can make along the road to truth. One is not going all the way, and the other is not starting. Mary Morrissey talks about divine discontent and how our divine discontent calls us to a greater good. And she says, you know, if you feel restless, that there's something you want to do, she said it could be God nudging you, telling you, I've got more for you to do. Don't settle. Respect that feeling. Respect that feeling pushing you to have a greater experience. So I want to close with another reading, and it's by Oriah Mountain Dreamer, and it's titled The Call. I've heard it all my life, a voice calling a name I recognized as my own. Sometimes it comes as a soft-bellied whisper. Sometimes it holds an edge of urgency, but always it says, wake up, my love. You're walking asleep. There's no safety in that. Remember what you are and let this knowing take you home to the beloved with every breath. Hold tenderly who you are and let a deeper knowing color the shape of your humanness. There is nowhere to go. What you're looking for is right here. Open the fists clenched and wanting and see what you already hold in your hand. There's no waiting for something to happen, no point in the future to get to. All you have ever longed for is here in this moment, right now. You're wearing yourself out with all this searching. Come home and rest. How much longer can you live like this? Your hungry spirit is gaunt. Your heart stumbles. All this trying, give it up. Let yourself be one with the God mad, faithful only to the beauty you are. Let the lover pull you to your feet and hold you close, dancing even when fear urges you to sit this one out. Remember, there is one word you are here to say with your whole being. When it finds you, give life to it. Don't be tight-lipped and stingy. Spend yourself completely on the saying. Be one word in this great love poem we are writing together. God bless you. Thank you for being here and have a wonderful week.